guys, it's MJ. How are you? Now today is actually the full moon, March 31st. I posted a couple days ago my full moon energy report, and I figured today I might as well give you guys the update about April and just what I'm getting intuitively as far as the collective energies and like the sway of awareness and the upliftment ultimately, and how I'm experiencing this awakening and this mass shift in my own personal life. And a very clear contrast is the dissolution of any level of abuse in my life. So lies, deceit, betrayal, emotional confusion, emotional abuse, tactical kind of angling, trying to get stuff from people, and ultimately like drainage. So the pulls, the drains, the unclear communication, the unclear kind of exchanges, those are like just so obvious that it's very easy to just say, no, not that anymore. That's not how it's going to be anymore. That's not how things are gonna simply, it's a self choice, right? Of that's not how I'm going to show up anymore in relationship, or that's not the kind of behavior that I'm going to tolerate in a relationship anymore. So yeah, this whole turning point, this whole awakening is all about self-awareness. It's all about sovereignty. It's all about self-responsibility, you know, like being aware of yourself. And so now we're collectively, there's like a huge pocket of us who are really starting to feel the effects and the manifested effects of doing this inner work, of being self-responsible, going through these crazy cycles, going through a transformation where literally you don't look the same, your life doesn't feel the same, nothing around you is even the same, new people around, and you really feel it's visceral, it's tangible. It's like you're a new person, you're a new creator, you're creating new worlds. Hence the title here is like the new paradigm is the new world. Your inner transformation of how you see the world, how you see yourself in the world, how you choose to perceive and think about every single area of the world in your life, and how you relate to your world and yourself, because ultimately how you relate to yourself is really how you're relating to the world around you. So the effects of that work is now being born, is now being manifest. It's spring, right? It's springtime. So spring is everything's coming alive. Everything's being reborn, right? So now we're really feeling the effects of the collective work, of a lot of the inner work that we've been digging into for the last few years, certainly a good 6 or 7 year cycle for most of us. And yeah, now it's like being made manifest. And so the beauty here is that we're being, in a divine, loving way, we're being supported in the work that we're doing. And we're being guided very obviously in the work that we're doing. And then we're going to continue to see things show up, and then continue to be encouraged in that integration process. And the beauty here about the anchoring is that this idea of new paradigm leadership, that energy is anchoring into the earth grid, so which supports the spontaneous awakening of more individuals, and it supports those on the awakening journey who are still navigating, who are still seeking, right? Because now it's about as many of us being guided to express and share the journey. The more of us who do that, the more of us will awaken, the more of us will be supported in a new economy, and a new way of structuring business, and a new way of systematizing education, the economy. Like it's all there, I think, in our vortexes. Now we just have to keep being present. We have to keep being willing to show up. We have to keep being willing to be vulnerable, to be honest, to harmonize, to forgive, to let go, to find love. But the big piece for me, and it goes back to the March new moon, or sorry, the full moon energies that we're in today, is about our integrity in our identity, our integrity in our sovereignty. And the weird piece for me as a woman in this world is this weird realization of like the program. So for me, what I'm having to look at is that my programming by the world was very much that like I owe the world something. Like I am supposed to give all my energy to the men in my life, to the people in my life, that like I'm just supposed to serve basically for nothing, just to like get by. It's like that kind of thing, like just to be fit or just to be, you know, have a house like that. I have to give everything for that. And it's suddenly like, whoa, holy hell. Like, no one else gets to tell me what I think, what I do, and yet you guys might be like, well, but yet that's me awakening to yet another veil, another program. It's unconscious until I see it, until I own it. And I can own that. And I can see that my unconscious patterning was to dedicate my life to the man in my life in whatever way, shape, or form. Help him in his business, help him in his journey, help him in his emotions, help him in sorting shit out. And then every once in a while I get kind of frustrated and be like, why don't I feel supported here? Why aren't I? But then being manipulated, because that's the kind of a big pocket of the social condition, is that men don't listen to women. Women's emotions are not validated. They're just kind of brushed to the side, hence not listening. And he's afraid to feel for fear of rejection, so he feels nothing, projects all the unconscious feeling onto her, and then the relationship falls apart because two people don't know how to communicate honestly their feelings, because most people are in denial of their feelings. And when shit gets tough, rather than wanting to face it together, people run away. People find someone else. People find another pattern to loop into, right? People find someone else to fuss over them. And it's for me as the empath, it's just about totally holding space for that totality, holding space for people in love and compassion, but also just like really, 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 really coming into myself, into my unity, into my merged essence, right? Because in truth, you guys, when we're with our higher self, when we're merged with the totality of who we are, we're not seeking, we're not looking for someone to like fulfill me. It's not, because what I realize is that every encounter fulfills. Every encounter is a fulfilling encounter. And on a much, much higher level, the truth is that the people who are meant for us do come into our lives at the perfect time. And it's taken weeks for me to process the amount of energy I've needed to process, but I see that now. I can see all the many ways my unconscious programming was looking for a man to save my life, was looking for my knight in shining armor to come in, fairy tale princess, sweep me off my feet and make everything shiny and glossy. And then without even realizing, without even noticing along the way, and then suddenly I get to this point where like I'm for myself the reward. I'm for myself the support. I'm for myself the radiance, the knight in shining armor, the princess, the I am that totality, right? And then me in my alignment simply meets other people in their alignment. It's not micromanaging, it's not fixing, it's not telling each other how to be, it's not telling each other what you should be feeling or thinking. It's not assuming that we know one another, because the only knowing is of self. And like me and my integrity can reflect back the self that I know, but I will never know that self or that journey in another. That's divinity. That's what divine union really is like a total loving acceptance of everyone in their self, right? But not in a sense of other trying to get from self, because that's a delusion. That's a codependent kind of vampire-like energy when we're not fully in our power. And ultimately it comes from the wound. It comes from the wound of unworthiness. So we try to mask that wound by seeking it. Maybe you can deal with my pain. Maybe you can deal with my pain. Maybe if you just stay there, that pain will go away, and it doesn't. And that's why we do separate. That's why we do, ebb and flow in and out of encounters, of assignments, of relationships, because there's very deep soul lessons that we're here to learn as individuated aspects of consciousness, as individuals, as souls embodied in form. Each and every one of us is a completely divine and unique spark. So comparing and trying to fix and stuff, that's a distortion of truth. Fully ownership of self, fully integrating into self, and then radiating that self-expression out into the world. And here in April, we're seeing a big like a bifurcation, this idea of like a timeline split. We're really jumping into the power play, like power play in a sense that we get to have greater dominion over our existence, because we've been ushering in that sense of responsibility. So we're ushering in higher consciousness. The weird paradox here is that you don't have to do anything. It's already done. Sort of what's really dropping in or anchoring in come this April, tomorrow, is the the merging, like total merging with essence, total merging with flow, total oneness with all of your creation, and ease, connectivity. You know, we're feeling into that, to that sense. And also, either we're going to be stepping into that sense of greater giving, greater generosity, greater exchange, or we're just still going to be hitting up against certain patterns. The patterns they keep telling us where we have unintegrated bits. That's it. The patterns in our lives just show us where we're not fully integrated. And I can see that in my own behavioral patterns, and I'm really looking at different aspects of things. And again, my work for a lot of this stuff is to not hook into collective agreements necessarily, especially when it comes to demonizing. Again, that's a divide and conquer tactic. So when it comes to demonizing certain behaviors, because I'm so aware of our infinity, I'm so aware of the fact that we are one energy. So whenever there's a social program that's trying to demonize something culturally speaking, be it sugar, be it alcohol, be it smoking, be it a race or a group of people, whenever there is a story being perpetuated that is trying to make something bad or wrong, or even for that matter really good and shiny, something in me is like, I'm going to work with that. So I'm going to work with the tenet of total self-responsibility and infinite consciousness to heal all that is, to heal even potential that, oh, that's bad, that's wrong. Well, is it truly, or is that just the program we buy into? And thus we perpetuate the symptom by believing it to be true. So we perpetuate, oh, we're so fucked up and sugar's so bad. And so we perpetuate the body's cellular reactivity to this thing we call, right? So this is where, guys, we're going into higher and higher consciousness, is that my soul vessel essence is no longer negatively affected by certain negative things, because the soul's channel is harmonizing any potential substantial disruption in energetic flow, or actually calling in certain substance to allow an energetic flow to be the presence that I am designed to be in this life, for this journey, for the pocket of humanity that I'm one with, you know, as far as this sense of awakening goes. There's like a pocket of us that all completely align with one another, hence the tribes, and hence the new paradigm is that we need one another to be aligning and reflecting back to each other, like, yeah, you're on the path and it's okay, and you are supported. As I say those words, I'm just very aware of like how our old paradigm version of support looks like versus integrating self-support and again, vulnerable, real, honest communication, right? And something that I'm sitting with personally is, again, this rise of empath and this sudden, very, very distinct awareness of we don't owe each other something. So I'm very aware of like these energies that are kind of just finding different ways of sort of making me think like I owe them something, and I'm continually just sitting with it and just coming back to like, but I don't. And there again, that's my old program of like tending and fussing around and making sure everybody's okay, just wanting to be super happy for everybody and make everybody happy around me, and then suddenly getting stumped and being like, so I have to be happy for myself, I'm supposed to be happy for everybody else, I'm supposed to try to make everybody else happy, but nobody else is responsible for their happiness. And then when I don't act how they want me to act, they make me feel bad about it and guilty. So that's the big leap. Suddenly, those of us who have those kind of people-pleasing patterns are like waking up to them in a really stark way and being like, hey, no, hey, no. How does she do it again? Jenna Marbles. Hell no. This is where it's coming to the end of the share, isn't it? But it is, like, for real, when people are sulking or people are like having emotional stuff, and I'm like, you can go through that, and it's just the difference now of like people who want my time and energy. There's a service and financial and economic exchange, and especially as this whole Me Too women's movement starts to happen, that is significant, because again, my training is like women's work isn't valued in the world. Women having babies, women cooking and cleaning doesn't get economic reward typically, right? We're just expected to do it for everybody. We're just expected to raise the children and be suffering in an economy that doesn't value that on an economic level. So for me, standing in my power as a woman in this world with intuitive, psychic, and emotional gifts and abilities, that I have to stand in my power and monetize those gifts. Otherwise, people around me just seem to think that I owe them my time and I owe them my energy and ultimately my expertise in the fact that I've been intuitively navigating this path for over 15 years, for the majority of my adult life. And me stepping into my power just makes the energy of trying to get, which is a reflection of my own neediness, my own unworthiness, and then attracting needy people around me, right? So that is what energy is being cut out. It just is. Like it's happening on every level. That I don't feel it anymore. I'm very aware of it happening, and I'm just like, nope. Not gonna go there. Nope, not gonna feed that energy. Nope, don't owe that person anything, right? And I gotta say, you guys, it's empowering as an empath, as somebody who's felt a whole bunch and always been kind of trying to figure it out for everybody else. As an empath, it's incredibly empowering to just suddenly know my power, know my worth, and know how I want to show up in the world, just in the moment. Some days I might want to show up and be in my duvet and eat Ben & Jerry's vegan ice cream and smoke joints. Other days I might want to be out and talking about consciousness and engaging with people and holding space and doing yoga with people and hugging people. So there's that polarity in my own life, right? And part of being able to show up every day is that I've come to accept that rather than try to deny it and try to hide it and try to uphold some image of like the squeaky clean, perfect spiritual guru, instead of just saying I am a human and I'm having this experience, and these substances sometimes work for me and help me, support me in my journey. And alcohol really didn't resonate with me, which is why I don't drink alcohol. But I don't talk about my sobriety like it makes me better than other people, especially because I smoke marijuana joints. So it's like there's a balance in how we navigate this physical realm. And where I'm coming from as a speaker, as maybe a way shower, I'm not even sure what to call it exactly, a coach. Again, that industry triggers me, but still, that's in essence what I do, is support and coach people to their infinite potential, right? To that kind of open and infinite potential space. At the same time, we're always just working on ourselves. So, somebody who smokes joints and wanting to not that I wouldn't be the coach for them. Somebody who wants to learn to accept themselves and give themselves space to be able to choose. And that is the biggest difference, you guys, when it comes to our relationship with everything, that we have a choice. And that is a big difference when you're consciously choosing something versus being in an unconscious pattern. It's different. And the way you tell it's different is by how much suffering you're creating in your life. And I don't personally feel that there's a lot of suffering being created, if any at all. However, unconscious patterns regarding sexuality, regarding alcohol abuse and drug abuse was very, very different from where I am today. And I can have a bit of a joke about enjoying pizza nights with a joint and Ben & Jerry's ice cream and then just vegetating. I love that. I love chilling. I love sitting quiet. I love just watching movies and being just being, and that is a lovely thing to be able to expose and express. At the same time, it's really nice to be in a place where you can just be yourself, and you can enjoy an altered state of consciousness with or without the substance. You can enjoy the totality of who you are, alone or with other. Right? And to be at ease in your own skin it's a very liberating and powerful thing. And it really does true energetic transformation takes you to another side of all that you learned and all the cycles that you went through, which is why I talk about kind of popping out the other side of conscious community or labeled spiritual community, because anything that kind of isolates us or creates parameter, in essence, is kind of going to create some judgment, and that's okay, right? But then on our journeys as individuals, at some point we're going to kind of pop out the other side and just be a new frequency. We're just going to be a new being, and from the new beingness that you radiate, that's how we attract the business, the life flow, the life energy, the life manifestation that's meant for you in this lifetime is made manifest, the more you grow into the person you're designed to be, which feels good, which feels natural, which feels aligned. And it's kind of like we just talk over and over in essence about the same thing, which is just you hooking into you, which is you getting to know the feelings that feel right. And that's not, no one else can tell you that. No one else can tell you what's right and wrong. And also doing this inner work stuff, you guys, like, not everyone's up to it. I think that's just being legit in this infinite, eternal dance of our own infinite creation, right? Is that we're living in these really wild and like kind of extremely polarized times. So those of us with emotional awareness and if we're hitting a wall and we know intuitively this person does not hear anything I'm saying, that's okay, but we have to have the awareness to just step back, send love and light. But if energetically we know that we can't really be around them, we have to be the responsible ones to just let go, let go of the people that we're not really communicating with, right? If we're not meeting, if we're not able to really resonate and communicate with somebody, if somebody's like, I don't understand anything you're saying, it's like, well, just let go then. That's, again, it took me fucking 10 years or 15 years to get that it wasn't my job to try to change people's minds about their reality. I just had to get to know myself. And when you do, you start to just love life. And that is the big leap as well about like, something shifted with all this energy work now where I'm just enjoying the journey. I'm enjoying the ebbs and flows. I'm enjoying my own self. I'm enjoying the fact that yet another transformational cycle is being born, and I'm just having to let go, be guided, and see where it takes me. I'm getting kind of insights. I'm getting intuitive guidance, but once again, it's just kind of like stepping out into a new phase of my life, and a lot, if not like everything is different. The large majority of the people that I've known for the last cycle, they're not in my life anymore, whether I had to walk away or whether they let go, it was just the end, it was the end of a monumental cycle. However, now that I'm integrating the learning, I'm glad to be on the other side of that cycle, because again, without judgment, I can accept the level of abuse I was still in. Even in trying to hold on to certain relationships, it was an abusive relationship, it was a lot of denial. There was a lot of emotional repression. There was a lot of secrets and lies, there was a lot of, stuff that I no longer resonate with that. I no longer, want to tolerate that in my life. And often where the anger spins up is because deep down the intuition knows stuff, and we're often angered when we suddenly see the level of injustice and disempowerment in a situation, and then the lack of responsibility perhaps. And that's the big jump, is that it's not my responsibility to be responsible for other people. All I can do is be responsible for myself and choose to focus on the good stuff. Even though there's a whole bunch of disparity and there's a whole bunch of crazy shit happening in the world, I can see it all, I can own it all, and I continue to be guided to be of the highest service for my life, to be of the greatest impact for how I want to live and how I want to show up. And I've already been guided into that. Now it's just next level. Now it's just like, and again, a big upgrade, a big move, a big writing of contracts, solidifying certain business relationships, like, changes, but changes that I recognize because I feel it inside my fucking body and bones and beingness. It's that anchor. Energy's being anchored in. The next phase is like no other phase that I ever cycled through. Everything up until now has been a recycling of lifetimes and patterns and family patterns of ancestors and genetic coding. And then that all has now been integrated to be released. So that all that pain, all that suffering, all that separation, all that wounding now has been energetically, lovingly acknowledged to be let go of. And now we step into the new frequency. We step into the new beingness of who we're here to be. I'm excited. I'm fucking excited about it, I gotta say. Hence, when we energetically really, really, really do the work, because the old energies just disappear. Even to the point of, even if I kind of try to go there energetically, it's really difficult. And then I'm like, yeah, I don't want to. So keep focusing on the good stuff, you know? Keep focusing on this eternal awesome life, and then just see where it takes me, because I'm so much more clear of the point of attraction. And that's again a really beautiful thing, of going through all this intense transformational energy and then getting to the other side and being like on it, seeing it clear, know the clear connections, know the unclear connections, be clear, and then move forward. So it's really good energies. Pardon me, you guys, if you haven't seen a kind of new flow by now, it's definitely, I certainly have, like, March was a bit of a turning point. There was a lot of upheaval, a lot of shape-shifting movement, and then release, and then now I'm really feeling the surge of, again, next level, higher manifestation, more work, more flow, more abundance, and really, really all good. So 2018, let's do this. We're on it. March has just flown by. Happy full moon, everybody. And I hope this April treats you just exquisitely. I hope that April brings you sunshine and daisies and some good company and lots of fun. So have a great day, you guys. Thanks so much for tuning in, and thank you for your thumbs up, and thank you so much for subscribing. I really appreciate your guys' support. Have a great day. Peace out.